Hey, you guys, I just want to talk to you real quick about another deliverance that I experienced, which was depression and the spirit of suicide. Both of these are soul issues, so I want to talk to you about it. I remember even as a teenager, I was always I thought about suicide every day, and I remember drawing. I used to draw, and I remember drawing headstones with my name on it, and I would draw these every day, and I would put the pictures in my closet so my parents didn't know. And I was teased a lot in high school because of the way my jaw was. It was like that, like that, that. So they used to tease me all the time, and it just really messed with my mind. And okay, then I got married, and y'all know about that issue. And I remember him even saying, the way I looked and the way my face was. And so he kind of reinforced what was said all the years in school. But I want to talk to you about depression because it's real, and it's a soul issue. That's why we need to deal with it, because we need healing in the soul. For people that have dealt with depression or dealing with it, or even the spirit of suicide, come up against any spirit right now, and anybody that is thinking about suicide right now, we come up against that spirit right now. We bind that spirit and send it back to the pit of hell from which it came from. You will live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. Because someone out there right now is looking at this video. So please share this video, because you never know who it's going to go to. So then I had a time period after I left my first husband, and I was had a restraining order and pretty much trying to hide from him, for him not to find me. And I went through a time period when, the spirit of darkness just tried to overtake me with, I didn't have any type of color in my life. That's why now if you see me, I want to have I usually used to have the brightest cars, and right now I finally got a car that's not as bright as some of the others, the reds, the yellows, the orange. But and I used to wear all black clothes, and I had everything in my house was black, from the furniture, the entire bedroom suite, to my shower curtain, my washcloths, my linen, every frame in the house, all my appliances, my silverware, my plates, everything, you guys, everything in the bathroom, my curtains, all my clothes, all my shoes. The only thing that wasn't black in there would have been my work clothes. That was a uniform, but other than that, it was just a darkness. And I remember I had gotten a bowl together, one of my black bowls, and I filled it up with all the pills that I could find. And see, every day I thought about suicide. Every day, year after year, every day. And I had that bowl of pills, and I remember talking to the apostle that I'm serving now, and I called him up. Thank the Lord I did. Called him up and told him what I was going through. Before I made the call, a voice, which I didn't know was the Lord then, because I wasn't saved, a voice told me that it doesn't end when you kill yourself. And I was like, what is that? All the anguish, all the hurt, all the pain, everything you're experiencing, it doesn't end with suicide. So then I knew I couldn't go through eternity like that. So for whoever looking right now at this video, it doesn't end with suicide. I didn't know that was the voice of God, but it was. I found that out later, that it was him, because I wasn't saved yet. So when I talked to the apostle, he said, get out the house. Now, before I got out the house, he prayed for me, and I had a deliverance right then. I mean, I was throwing up, and it was like crazy. And he said, get out the house. So I got out the house. I went over to my parents' house. I was there. I had went to the doctor. I had left work. I had to do a leave of absence on my job. I couldn't function. I had a nervous breakdown. I could not function. So I was on Prozac. I was on Zoloft. I was on a sleeping pill. I think it was Ambien. I was on something else as well for depression. I was on so much stuff. But so it was during that time period when I was sitting outside with my dad. My dad was still alive then. And we would sit outside on the picnic table like we always would do. And it was then when he said that he did he told me about how he saw each one of his children. It was during that time when he said that I was the strongest, you guys. It was then when he said that I was the strongest. When I was in the midst of a nervous breakdown, depression, and on all that medicine, my dad, he didn't say nothing about that. He looked at me and said, he called me Spodo, which I don't know what that mean or why he called me Spodo. S-P-O-D-O. That was what his nickname was for me. He said, Spodo, you the strongest. My dad spoke life to me. He spoke life into a dark situation. He didn't say, Lisa Spodo, what are you doing taking all these pills, get it together? He didn't say none of that. He said, you're the strongest. That's what my dad said to me. And then the apostle, he looked at me and said, Lisa, the Lord gonna use you. The Lord gonna use you in ministry. I wasn't even saved, you guys. The Lord gonna use you in ministry. And you're going to help many women. That's what he said to me. And I'm like, what? I didn't even know God. I didn't even know him. But he knew me. That was the key. He knew me. He knew me. He had put me here with a purpose and a destiny. And I was going to fulfill it because it's happening now. And I remember years before my aunt Essie. Anybody know Aunt Essie? Y'all would just love her so much. Aunt Essie, I think I was 10 or 12. I can't quite remember the age. I might have been younger than that. But she looked at me and she said, Lisa, God, you're going to know things. God going to use you mightily. That's what she said. So I'm saying all this because in the situation I was in, it looked dark. But the Lord used people to speak into my life. My dad said I was the strongest while I was in the midst of a nervous breakdown. The apostle said the Lord was going to use me and there was going to be a ministry. And it's happening now. I just want y'all to know that you do have purpose. I was watching this and they can't take it anymore. You got purpose. It was even years after that, and when I went through the getting high and drinking, and I was a sinner and I sinned very well, okay? And during those time periods when I would be really in those so high or so drunk, and I would think about how in the world is God gonna use me? I held on to those words, you guys. Even one day when I was married, and the second time, and I don't know if anybody know this, and there was a gun in the house, and I held that gun towards my face. It didn't go off, Lord. You got a purpose. You got a purpose. Suicide is not the answer. You got a purpose, a mighty purpose. If all hell seems like it has broken loose in your life, and all your life you have been going through this and going through that, and you've been dealing with that spirit all your life, you know God has a mighty purpose for you. I mean, I went through it for years. I was in my 30s before that spirit was broken off of me. In my 30s, you guys, I dealt with every day thinking about it. Every day. So I just want to come tonight and just tell you guys that if you could just understand how much the Lord loves you, and how even when I didn't know that was his voice telling me not to do it, it was his voice. If it's any other voice telling you to do it, that's not God. He come that he give life and have life more abundantly. He is the life giver. So, speak life. Those words that they spoke to me, I held on to it. And I remember when I got saved, and I remember writing the apostle that I'm serving now, I wrote him a letter. It was like 13 years after the word he had given me. It was 13 years. God even said it's 13 years. It was the first time that I was able to, that I was asked to speak somewhere. And I told him that it was coming to pass. The words that he spoke was coming to pass. It came to pass, you guys. You do have purpose. You will fulfill it. You shall live and not die, and declare the works of the Lord in the land of the living. I love you guys. Speak life over yourself. Speak life over your family. If anyone, you see someone going through something, go over there and talk to them. Speak life to them. You never know. I'm telling you, those words got me through when I was high. When I was out there, I remember those words. My dad said I was the strongest, you guys. He said I was the strongest in the midst of what I was going through. And those words have carried me. And even when I go through now, I always think about my dad said I was the strongest. Speak life over your children. Speak life over yourself. Just speak life, but you got to speak life now. You living in now situations. So you got to speak life now. I love you guys. Have a blessed evening. Bye-bye.